At Dixie Elementary School, when I was in 5th grade, the piece of gear, the piece that you had to wear if you were going to fit in, if you were going to be accepted, get to sit with the cool kids, was an alligator polo. Now, some of you may be familiar with that. It's actually a company called Izod Lacoste. They were very, very preppy, and a lot of tennis and sailing gear that they would sell, clothing, shoes. And what was on all the socks and the jackets and the shirts was this little alligator. And so it was the premier item. And it wasn't just having the other gear. You had to have the polo. Well, I begged my mom, please, please don't let me go to school without one of these. And we were fairly poor and they were fairly expensive. In fact, usually what one of those polos would have cost would have purchased at Hill's department store 3 or 4 pair of jeans and 3 or 4 shirts. And so my mom kept saying, no, we just really can't afford that. And I just desperately wanted it, and I kept asking for it. And so my mom, because she loved me, went to Hill's department store. She bought 2 knockoff polos. They looked pretty much like the others, but no, they said Hill's department store instead of Izod Lacoste. She also then went to Lexington Mall, to an expensive store, and she bought 1 pair of Izod Lacoste socks. There was an alligator on each one. So she went home and used her iron and her sewing machine, and she took those alligators off of the socks and put them onto the shirt so that I could have those to wear to school. I had a red one, which was the bomb.com. I absolutely loved it. I had to wear that on the first day. And then she made one for me that was sky blue. So I go to school on the first day, and I'm wearing that red alligator polo. And I walk into the school, and I kid you not, it felt like 1 million people gave me high fives and compliments. And some of the coolest kids in the class asked me to come and sit with them during the morning assembly when the principal was addressing the school. And I was like, it's working. And then we went outside in the middle of the day for recess. And I was a pretty short guy. I was a pipsqueak, man. I was the smallest guy in all of 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, even in 6th grade. But I played soccer, and I could put the ball into the outfield almost every time, so on the kickball field, I often got picked pretty early. Well, I got picked early that time, and we played, and I ran several people in with these long kicks, and I loved it, and our team won, and we went back inside. But in the midst of all that playing, something happened. When we sat back down at our seats, we were in a kind of a U shape like this, and the girl at the corner of the room was asked by Miss Papania, our teacher, to take these worksheets and hand them out. So she was walking behind us, setting them on our desk for us to be working on. And as she made her way around, she got to me. I was kind of back in the middle. She walked by, and as she walked by and put my worksheet on the table, she noticed that my tag inside the collar had flipped. And she saw that it didn't say Izod Lacoste. It said Hill's department store. She was real quiet about it until she finished passing all those out, but then once she got back to her seat, she was a cheerleader, and they had a lot of money in a big house and threw community parties, and so she wrote notes and passed them to the really popular kids, the really preppy kids, to tell them, it's a fake. Miss Papania got called to the hallway because one of the students had arrived late, had been transferred from one school to another, and while she was in the hallway, this one kid, Evan, he only lived a couple of blocks from me, and wasn't any better than me, and I know it now, but at the time, he was the kind of premier hottie in the class as far as all the girls were concerned. And so he looks up at me while she's in the hall and he goes, hey, Phillip. I look up and he says, we know that's a fake. Nice try, but you're still a loser. And the whole class just busts up laughing. I wanted to shrink away to nothing. I wanted to run out of the room right then. I was very upset, but I just turned red, I'm sure, and just kept working on my worksheet. What happened that day was me trying to elevate myself. And when I tried to elevate myself, what happened was that it backfired. It backfired. When we try to lift up ourselves and make ourselves the most important, what will happen is often it will backfire on us. Maybe not right away, but in time. And this is the key point I want you to hear today. And I'm going to say it once right now, but I want you to listen real close because I'm going to ask you to say this main point a couple more times while I'm doing this talk. You guys ready? So here it is. It's only 6 words. Memorize these. Here they are. Elevating yourself backfires. Elevating others inspires. You want to help me with that? Let's try that. Elevating yourself backfires. Say it out loud. Here we go. Elevating others inspires. Now, when the last bell rang on that terrible day for me, there were two doors you could leave our classroom. One was into a hallway and out the front door, and almost everybody went that way. There was also a door that went straight out to the playground, and I busted out that door, and I ran about a block to get way ahead of the rest of the crowd. And then a few moments had gone by. I walked about another half a block when I heard footsteps running up from behind me. Turned to see who it was, and it was Wade and Jonathan. They're not made-up names. They're friends of mine, and we're still in contact today online. Wade and Jonathan ran to catch up to me. You know why? I had tried to elevate myself, and it backfired. They were coming to elevate me. They were coming to encourage me. So they caught up to me, and both of them took turns making fun of the popular kids who had made fun of me, making me laugh, and they also reminded me of embarrassing situations other people had had in the past, that we'd been to school together for years, and that nobody even remembered that anymore. So they were really encouraging. They were helpful. They were there to elevate me, to help lift me up. They served me, and it was an incredible opportunity. When you make yourself the very most important person in the room, it will backfire. Somehow or another, people will push away from you. But if you choose to elevate others, to serve them, to lift them up, then you'll put yourself in a place where you will never lack for real friendships, and you will have a big influence on the people around you. You know what I did on the second day because those guys lifted me up? You know what I wore? Anybody want to guess? I wore the blue shirt the next day with the fake alligator. I did. And I walked right into class bold as I could be because those guys had encouraged me. And when I got into that classroom that day, Wade, one of those guys who had been there for me and elevated me, he was on the other side of the classroom, and when I walked in, he shouted out where everybody could hear it. He said, "Hey, Phillip, that's a nice knockoff crocodile shirt," kind of making fun of the whole alligator, brand, his trademark. And almost everybody in the class laughed, except for the ones who were wearing the real eyes out of the class. They're like, no, it's really important. You just got to understand that they've had this long tradition. Alligators, this royal animal, and they're trying to defend all this. And almost everybody else in the class who doesn't have that gear is like, whatever. And I said, well, you know what this shirt says? This shirt says my mom loves me and was willing to make it for me. And nobody said another word about it for the whole rest of the year. It was a tremendous opportunity for me to learn that elevating yourself does what? Say it for me. Backfire. Elevating others inspires.